Purnamidam Purnamidam Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the third verse is over. Now we'll start with the fourth verse. Anejad ekam manaso javiyo naina deva apnuvan purvamarshad tadhavato anyanatyeti tishtat tasminnapo materishva dadhati. So this is the description, Upanishad proper, the description of the Atman has started. Anejad, Ajra company, the root word is Ajra and meaning is vibration, movement. Anejad, that which does not move, that which does not vibrate. Ekam, it is one, only one without a second. Manaso javiyo, it is faster than the mind. Javiyas, yasun pratyaya, suffix is there called yasun. It is used in the comparative degree. So javiyas, faster than, that meaning comes. Java is fast. So javiyas means faster than. Manaso, manasa is that fifth case. It is used to than the mind. When any word is there, that comparative and all, the fifth case is used. Faster than the mind. The Atman. All these are adjectives of the Atman. Na enat deva apnovan. Enat, this Atman. Deva na apnovan. The gods cannot reach. The gods, what are gods? Gods are, the belief is that the gods are the presiding deities of the senses. So, what if the gods are representative of the senses? So, the senses cannot reach it, the Atman. It is faster than the mind and even the senses cannot reach it. The Deva is representative of the senses and even the senses cannot reach the self. Purva Marshat, because it is already overtaken them all. The Atman has overtaken them all. Purva, it has already reached, beforehand it has reached. That's what is told. Purva Marshat. Tad dhavato anyan atyeti tishtat. Dhavataha anyan atyeti tat. The anyan dhavataha, the other running things, it overcomes. By standing itself, it overtakes all running things. That is the meaning. Tad dhavadaha anyan atyeti tishtat. By being permanent or standing itself, it overtakes all running things. This is the literal meaning. Tasmin napo matarishva dadhati. Tasmin, when this Atman is the matarishva. Matarishva dadhati. Matarishva apaha dadhati. Matarishva is meant the Sutratma, the Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic mind is called Matarishva. It is derived like this: Matari Shvayati iti Matarishva. He who grows in the mother, he who fills the mother is Matarishva. That is the literal meaning. He who fills the mother or he who grows in the mother. What is the mother? The mother is Antariksha. Actually, this is similar to what Swamiji has told in his Raja Yoga lectures of Akasha and Prana. The Akasha is the primal matter and the primal force, which is the primal prana, fills the Akasha. Wherever there is matter, this prana, the possibility of this prana is vibrating there. So, tasmin napo, in that, tasmin, when it is there, that again that conditional process coming, If this condition is there, that is there. So, because this Atman is there, therefore, the Matirishva Prana Apaha Dadhati. Apaha, the literal meaning of the word Apaha is water. But what it means here is, Apa is representative of karma. Because the explanation given is that in yagas or sacrifices, you normally use three things are used as offering. One is this clarified butter called gridha. Then the second thing is this somarasa, that some creeper is crushed and juice is extracted. That is also liquid form. That is somarasa. And then milk is used. So all these are liquid form. So the word apa is used to represent all actions, all rites and rituals. And that again is used, and all these rites and rituals are accomplished by the actions of man. Man itself is the pranadi cheshta, accomplished by the vital forces in man. So, Apa becomes representative of all actions, of all rites and rituals, and also of all actions of man. So, what it means literally, it means is, because the Atman is there, the Madhirishva, the prana, the cosmic mind, or what is called the cosmic primal force, the Kriya Shakti, that Dadhati Apaha gives, allots all karmas, or holds within himself all actions. This is the meaning. So now that commentary can be read. Yasya atmano hananat vidvamsaha samsaranti tad viparyayena. Yasya atmano hananat avidvamsaha samsaranti tad viparyayena vidvamso jana muchyante tena atmahanaha. Now that connection with the previous verse. It was told that Asurya Tams Yeke Chatmahano, the suicides, fall into a demoniacal world filled with darkness. And it was told that what is this darkness? Because, why are they called suicides? Because it is filled with because there is no knowledge of the reality. Therefore, it was called darkness. So now, it is told here, that the ignorant people go through the cyclical process of birth and death because of their being suicides, because of their being not aware of the Atman. And as opposed to that, the knowledgeable ones, those who have realized the truth, those who have destroyed avidya, they are freed from samsara. They are freed from samsara. They are not suicides. They are the opposite. Tat kidrisham atmatattvam ityuchyate. Now, what is that nature of the Atman that the Vidwan has realized? This is being explained in this word. What is that atmatattva? So, the first word is anejat, na ejat, ejra kampane, kampanam chalanam, swa avastha pratyutihi. So, what is it? Ejra, the anejat. Ana, it's a negation actually. Not vibrating. So in Sanskrit the rule is if the word that is being negated, the noun that is being negated starts with a consonant, then the opposite meaning is given by just adding an R to it. And if the first word starts with a vowel, then that is the negation starts by adding an ana to it. An will be added. So it is ejra, ejat. And When the opposite you want to get not moving, vibration is ejra, and not vibrating, you add an un in the beginning. Then it becomes anejat, not vibrating. Anejat, na ejat, ejra kampane. What is kampanam? Chalanam swa avastha pratyutihi. That is falling away from one's own true nature. Swa avastha, one's own real nature, falling away. Pratyuti means falling away from that is ejra kampane. Tad varjidam sarvada ekarupam. So when you say anejat, it means swa avastha pratyuti is not there. Falling away from one's real nature is not there. You are always established in your own nature. Means sarvada ekarasam, remaining without any change, without any modification, remaining in the same balanced equipoised state all the time. This is first meaning of the first word, anejat. The next is tacha ekam sarva bhuteshu. That is one in all beings, that one non-dual reality. It exists as the one non-dual reality. So that is the next second word, ekam sarva bhuteshu manasaha sangalpadi lakshanat javiyo javavattaram. It is faster than the mind. And what is the mind? Sangalpadi lakshana. The mind is sangalpa vikalpa lakshana. That is, it can think about the pros and cons of a thing. That is how that in English it is translated like that. It is called sankalpa and vikalpa. You imagine some things, or you oscillate between what is to indecisive state is there, where you do not know which alternative to take. That is called vikalpa. So that is the characteristic of the mind. Sangalpa vikalpa lakshana. So manasaha sangalpa vikalpa lakshana javiyo javavattaram. It is faster. Javiyo javava. It is faster than the mind, which is of the nature of thinking about the pros and cons of a thing. Kadam viruddham uchyade. Now a question is being raised. Kadam viruddham uchyade dhruvam nishchalam idam anaso javiya iticha. Now it was told that the Atman is without any motion. It is dhruva, it is steady, permanent, and it is also without any motion. Then how can it be faster than the mind? That which is steady does not move. So it is told here it is faster than the mind. So here it is a rhetorical, like it is a rhetorical like statement, or it should not be literally taken. So what is told in Esha doshaha nirupadi upadi matvena upapaddhehe. It is the one word is in upadhi. With the Atman can have two natures. If the way you see it, if you see it as associated with an upadhi or what is called attributes, upadhi is like that which appears to change the nature of a thing without actually doing so. That is, it is called upa-adhiyate. By staying near it, it appears to take the attributes of the near thing. An example that is given is of one crystal is there and a red rose is there. If you keep the red rose near it, the crystal appears to take the red color of the rose. But it is not actually there. Likewise, the mind, all these are upadhis which appear to take the nature, borrow the nature of the Atman, which is that of being Satchidananda. The mind also wants, the mind appears to be eternal, or the properties of the Atman, like being, it will be eternal. All these things, all these attributes appear to be there in the mind also, but it is not actually there. It is jada, it is inert. So this is called upadhi. The mind is an upadhi. It is staying near the Atman. It appears to take the characteristics of the Atman, but actually it is separate from the Atman, and it has also no existence apart from the Atman. So then that now it is told here that when you see the Atman without upadhis, it is nishtala, it has no motion. But when you see the Atman with upadhis, then it appears to move. It appears to move, then it is told that in that respect it is told that it moves faster than the mind, etc. Tatra nirupadikena sveda rupena uchyate anejadekamiti, as not conditioned by upadhis or attributes. It is by its own nature, it is told that aneja, ekam, that is not conditioned by upadhis or attributes, or not conditioned by attributes. Then it is told when the Atman is not conditioned by attributes, it is conditioned by the upadhis, conditional clauses. It is told that it doesn't move and it is one, non-dual, etc. Manaso antakaranasya sankalpa vikalpa lakshanasya upadehe anuvartanat. But when it is that the mind, when it is considered as following when it appears to follow the oscillations of the mind, then it is told that it is manasaha janiyaha. What is meant here is that there is the reflection of the Atman, or you can even say the light of the Atman is falling on the mind. If it is not falling on the mind cannot do anything. The mind is inert by itself. The property of enveloping objects and illumining objects and revealing objects is possible for the mind only because the light of the Atman is falling on it. So the mind by itself cannot do anything. And this light of the Atman is all pervading. It is everywhere. It is there even in the Brahma Loka, or what is called everywhere. So the mind goes anywhere. The reflection of consciousness is already there. Because without that reflection of consciousness, the mind cannot do anything. At the same time, the mind cannot make this reflection of consciousness an object to know. It will always remain the subject only. So in this respect, it is told that Atman is faster than the mind. Because even if the mind goes to Brahmaloka, the reflection of consciousness, without which the mind cannot know anything, is already there. So in this respect, because it follows it appears to be associated with the upadhi of the mind, it is called, the Atman is, it is told that the Atman is faster than the mind. Because it appears to be associated with the upadhi. Anuvartanat manaso antakaranasya sankalpa vikalpa lakshanasya upadher anuvartanat. Because it appears to follow the mind, it is said that it is faster than the mind. Iha dehastasya manaso brahmalokadi duragamanam sankalpena kshanamatrad bhavati. Now it is told here how the mind is traveling. How can the mind travel? Then it's told, yes, the mind, that the sankalpa lakshanam, through mere sankalpa, the mind can go to the highest loka, the Brahma loka. With a kshana, within a split second it can go there. To the highest Brahma loka, this mind can go. Ato manaso javishtatvam loke prasiddham. So it is evident in this world that the mind is very fast. Or you see, sometimes you see things going on in another land. Of course, it is imagined. But there are things which the mind readers and all can know things. It is proved. So the fastness of the mind is a fact of the world. Tasmin manasi brahmalogadin dhrutam gacchati sati pradamam prapta iva atma chaitanya avabhaso grihyate ato manaso javiya ityaha. And this manasi brahmalogadi dhrutam gacchati, and this manasi, it is and this mind, when it goes to even brahmaloka, it's so fast, within a split second it goes to brahmaloka, then what happens? Pradamam prapta iva atma chaitanya avabhaso grihyate. The atma chaitanya avabhasa, the reflection of consciousness, that is called atma chaitanya. The reflection of the Atman consciousness is already there in brahmaloka. Pradamam prapta iva, it is already there. When the mind goes there, it is the Atma Chaitanya is already there. Grihyate ato manaso javiya ityaha. Therefore, it is told that the Atman is faster than the mind. Na ena deva dyotana devaha. Now, why is it called deva? Deva, this is explained. Dyotana devaha. Because dyotana means illumining, lighting up things. Dyotana devaha. Because it lights up things, it is called deva. And what is these devaha? Chakshuradini. Chakshuradini indriyani. Chakshuradini indriyani. Those the senses beginning with the chakshu. Chakshu adi yasya. Chakshuradini indriyani. The indriyas beginning with chakshu. That is the five senses are the chakshu, shrotram, tvak, rasam or granam. All these eye, ear, nose, and here then taste and touch. These are the five senses. So these are the devas. By the devas are meant the five senses of knowledge. Starting eye, that is the shrotra, chakshu, tvak, etc. Chakshuradini indriyani. Edat prakritam atma tattvam. Na anubhavan, na apnuvan, na praptavantaha. The senses do not reach this Atman. So here two things are told here. One is the Atman, the mind, it is faster than the mind. The mind itself cannot make the Atman an object of knowledge. This is the first thing. And the gods even cannot reach it. Because the senses are even duller than the mind. The mind is, at least it carries directly the reflection of consciousness. So the mind is the finest thing, the most sophisticated thing in this world, because it carries directly the reflection of the Atman. But the senses is even separated from the Atma Chaitanya by the mind. So it is even more duller, and therefore the Atman is even more unreachable to the senses than the mind is. So the separation from the senses and the Atman is much more than the separation of the senses from the separation of the mind from the Atman. This is what is told. The gods cannot reach it because na apnuvan na praptavantaha. Tebhyo mano javiyo mano vyapara vyavahitatva abhasa matramapi atmano na eva devana vishayi bhavati. Because the Atman is separated from the senses by mano vyapara, by the activities of the mind. And this abhasa matra, even the reflection of consciousness, cannot be made an object by the senses. Yasmat javanar manasopi purvamarshad purvameva gatam vyomavat vyapitvat. Therefore, it is even ahead of the mind. The Atman is ahead of the mind. Manasopi purvamarshad. It has overtaken even the mind. Why? Vyomavat vyapitvat. Because it is everywhere. It is like the Akasha, it is everywhere, the Atma Chaitanya. Therefore, it is told that it is overtaken the mind and the senses cannot reach it. Sarvavyapi tadatma tattvam sarva samsara dharma varjidam svena nirupadhigena swarupena avikriyameva sat ubhadikrita sarva samsara vikriya anubhavati iti anubhavataha avivekinam moodhanam ekamivacha pratideham pratyavabhasate ityedadaha. That Atma Tattvam is sarva vyapi, all pervading, sarva samsara dharma varjidam. It is devoid of all samsara dharmas. It is devoid of all attributes of samsara like growth, decay, etc. It is devoid of that. Svena nirupadikena swarupena avikriyameva sat. By its unconditioned existence, it is not associated with any upadis or conditions, and it remains by its own nature without any change. When it comes in contact with upadis, it appears to change, but by its own unconditioned nature, it is remaining always unchanged. Svena nirupadikena swarupena avikriyameva sat. Upadikrita sarva samsara vikriya anubhavati iva. Upadikrita sarva samsara vikriya. All the samsara vikriyas, all the changes that we see in samsara are taking place through upadhis. Or the all beings appear to undergo change only because they appear to be associated with the upadhis of the body and the mind. That is the point. By itself there is no change, but when they come in association with the conditions of the body and the mind, they appear to undergo change to those who do not know the nature of the truth. Ubhadikrita sarva samsara vikriya anubhavati iva. It appears as if he is experiencing all these, all the changeful conditions of this world of birth and rebirth. He appears to be born, is undergoing so many, he's undergoing so many sorrowful conditions. All this he appears to undergo, but in reality he is not. Anubhati iva avivekina moodhanam anegam iva cha pratideham pratyavabhasate. And he appears to be many. He is one only, non-dual. But as per the upadhis, as per the bodies and the minds, he also appears to be many. But in reality, he is one. Ityedadaha tadhavado. So all this is indicated when it is told tadhavato anyan atyeti. Tadhavato drutam gacchato. Anyan. What is this anyan? That is, he appears to overtake all running things, all other running things. Anyan, all other running things. So what is this other? Tadhav drutam gacchado anyan atma vilakshanan mano vak indriya pravritti. That is, anyan is the mind, the senses. Vak is that sense of what is called that the organ of speaking is called a vak. That is that 5 sensory organs and 5 motor organs are there. That is that speaking, that organ of vak, then the organ of receiving, that is the hands, then the organ of motion, which is the legs, and then there is the organ of excretion and the organ of sexual reproductive organ. These are the 5 motor organs. So, Anyan, as Atma Vilakshana, that is different from the Atman, this mind and the senses, whether they be sensory or motor, it overtakes them. This Atman appears to overtake them, that is, by itself it has got no motion, but when it comes in contact with these, when the light of the Atman falls in this, then the Atman, you have to say that the Atman is moving along with the senses, moving along with the mind. It is, so then in that sense it is told that the Atman is faster than all these senses, all these things, etc. Ivartam swayameva darshayati tishtat. So that is what it is told. It appears to overtake all running things by remaining without, by standing, by remaining without motion. It overtakes all running things. So this is the word. So that is what it is only an appearance. So both cannot be true. You cannot be running and remaining stationary at the same time. One of them has to be an appearance. So that association with the upadhis, that it's being faster than the is just a rhetorical statement. That is actually in its real nature there is no motion. So this is what is told here. Ivartam swayameva darshayati tishtadidi. That is, it just appears to be faster than all these things, but in reality, it is without motion. Swayam aviruddhameva sat swayam avikriyameva sat ityarthaha. By remaining, in reality, remaining without any change. Tasmin atmatattve sati nitya chaitanya swabhave matarishva. And when this Atma Tattva Sati, when this Atma Tattva is there, and what is this Atma Tattva? Nitya Chaitanya Swabhava. It is of the nature of eternal consciousness. And when this Atma Chaitanya is there, then what happens? Matarishva. Now Matarishva is explained. Matari antarikshe shvayati gacchati iti matarishva vayuhu. Matari shvayati. Matari means Saptami, in the mother. He who grows in the mother, he who fills the mother is Matarishva. And what is that? That is prana, vayu. Prana is the concept of what is called the thread soul, Sutratma, Hiranyagarbha. And what is it? The Kriya Shakti. That prana is there. Because that prana is there, Mahaprana is there, our old pranas are vibrating, our heart is breathing because that prana is there, that Mahaprana. And that is one non-dual entity. That is not the Atman, but that is what is called that cosmic vital force. So, because that Atman is that cosmic vital force, the root of all activity, the root of all Kriya, what does it do? Sarva Prana Bhrit, which holds the pranas of all creatures, which withholds, because of that is the prana seems to be there in all beings. When it removes that, when it withdraws its activity, that person or creature dies or collapses. It is just matter, there is no more life force in it. So, sarva prana bhrit kriyatmago. It is kriyatmaga, it is the source of all actions. Yad ashrayani karya karana jadani. Depending on which are all the bodies and senses of all creatures. Karya karana jatani means the group, the classes, the groups of all bodies, whatever bodies are there, whatever karanas, senses are there, all these are activated by this prana. Yasmin otani prodani cha, and in whom, because it runs, otani prodani is like when the thread of a cloth, as it runs through the cloth, as it interpenetrates the cloth, even so the thread soul, this prana, this sutratma, runs through all bodies and all senses. Yasmin otani prodani cha yet sutra samyagaha, and what is called, the scriptures gives it the name sutratma, sutra, the thread, because it runs through all bodies and minds. Here one should remember, we are not talking of the Atman, we are talking of the prana, that Matarishva, and this Matarishva cannot do anything without the Atman. So that is the point. Here we are talking, all these things are the attributes of the sutratma. So, yasmin notani proda yat sutra samyakam sarvasya jagato vidharayitra, the upholder of all the universe. Chasa Matarishva. That is the Matarishva. So, Matarishva was explained here. And Apaha, next comes to the Matarishva. Yasmin tasmin napo. Matarishva dadhati. Tasmin napo. Now is explained apaha karmani praninam cheshta lakshanani. Tasmin apo matarishva dadhati. That is, when this Atman is there, Matarishva upholds all karmas or activities, or allots all activities. Two meanings are there. So the word is for activities is apa, water. The literal word is water, but it indicates actions. How it is possible? How does the word apa, water, indicate actions? This is told here. Apaha karmani praninam cheshta lakshanani. By water is meant actions, rights, the totality of rights, and by that is meant praninam cheshta lakshanani. The motions brought about by the vital force of the body. Pranadi cheshta. Praninam cheshtadi lakshanani. The motions of the physical body. This is meant by the word apa, water. Agnyaditya parjanyadinam jvalana dahana pragasha abhivarshanadi lakshanani dadhati vibhajati ityartaha. So this is one meaning. One meaning is Sutratma. Sutratma is the head of all the devas. Even the God's activities, just as it controls the prana, the pranic activities in all beings, it controls the pranic activities even in the cosmic deities. This is the Vedic concept. So, that the Agni, when Agni can burn and illumine things, that work is allotted to it by this Sutratma. That Sutratma has given it that work. What is that work? Apaha. Apaha dadhati. That work is, that is dadhati is translated as vibhajati or interpreted as is allotted. This is one meaning. That is the Agni's prajwalana and dahana. That work is allotted by Sutratma to it. And also the Aditya's jwalana, dahana, prakashana. Aditya. That is bright entities like the sun. It illumines. That illumining power is also given to it by Sutratma. And again, Avivarshana. That rain is falling. The god of waters is Varuna. That power to that power of rain, the power of water, that of Abhivarshana, of showers, the power of showering water is given to Varuna by this Sutratma. This is what is told here. Agnyaditya parjanyadinam jwalana dahana pragasha avivarshana lakshanani dhadadi vibhajati ityartaha dharayati iva. Then another meaning is dharayati. It holds all the pranas of all creatures is upheld by the Sutratma. Why? Because the Atman is there. If the Atman is not there, it is also powerless. The Sutratma or prana is also powerless. So this is the meaning that is given here. Now one shloka is quoted a little bit to indicate Bhishasmad vada pravate visho devi suryaha ityadi shrutibhyaha sarvahi karya karanadi. Now it is summed up in a single sentence. Sarvahi karya karanadi vikriya nitya chaitanya atma swarupe sarvaspada bhute satyeva bhavanti ityartaha. Whatever activities are there of the body and the senses, it is possible only because Nitya Chaitanya Atma Swarupe, because the Nitya Chaitanya Atma, that the eternal consciousness is there as its basis, as its substratum, because that is there, all these activities are taking place either in human beings, either in the animals, or even in the highest gods. These activities are taking place because of the Sutratma, and the Sutratma can move. Sutratma can do anything. It gets the power of allotting all these activities only because the Atman is there in the background. Satyeva bhavati ityartaha. Now the next verse. Tadejati tannejati taddure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bhakyataha. Again it is being repeated. It is told anejadekam. It doesn't vibrate, it is non-dual. Now here it is told tadejati tannejati. It moves not. So why this is an example of repetition. The same thing is being repeated. Now it is told here that the Bhashya, that mantranam na jamita asti. The mantras do not tire. It is normally that when similar things happen, we get bored with it. So why are they telling the same thing? No, it is not bored. Each time it is revealing the thing, it is ever new. It is ever fresh and ever new. This is how the Shuddhis are to be approached. So now it is called Tadejati. It moves. Tan na ejati. It moves not. Tad dure. It appears to be very distant. Tad antige. It is also very near. How? Tadejati. As it is already explained previously. It moves. How? Because of association with upadhis, it appears to move. But it does not. This is the first. Tanna ejati, in its real nature, it is all pervading, existing everywhere, it does not move. Tad dure, it appears to go very fast. Now, tad dure, it appears to be very distant. How is it distant? For the Ajnani, it is very distant. It was told in the third verse, Asurya namate loga. When we forget the ideal, that we are born in circumstances where there is no way of reminding ourselves of the Atman. That is what. For the ignorant, it appears to be very distant. Tadu antikecha. But for the jnani, it is the closest thing for the jnani. It is more closer than anything else. That for the jnani. Tadu antike. Tadantarasya sarvasya. It is the innermost essence of everything. Tadu sarvasyasya bhakyadaha. It is also all-pervading and existing everywhere outside. This is the verse. Tadejati, tadneijati, taddure, tadvantike, tadantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bhakyataha. Now we will see. Na mandranam jamita asti purva mandroktam api artam punaraha. The mantras do not tire themselves. Therefore, whatever was told previously is again told in different words. Tad ejati iti, tad atmatattvam yat pragrudam, tad ejati. Chalati, tadeva cha na ejati, swato deva chalati, swato achaladeva sat, chalati iva ityartaha. That is what. It appears to move. By its real nature, it doesn't move. That Atma Tattva tad ejati chalati iva, it appears to move. But it actually doesn't. Kincha tad dure. Kincha tad dure. Varshakodi shataihi api avidusham aprapyatvat dura iva. But by billions and trillions of years, that Varshakodi Shatair Avi Avidusha, it is for trillions of years. It is trillions of years away. The Atman is for the ignorant. Why? Because he cannot experience it. He has turned his face toward it. If we can be ignorant of the Atman for trillions and trillions of years. This is what is told here. So what? But at the same time, if we want this moment, we can turn ourselves to the self. Be aware of it. It is available this very moment. But we can also, it can also be trillions of years away from us also. So this is told here. For the ignorant, it is trillions of years away. Varshakodi shatei ravi avidusham aprapyatva dura iva. Tatu antike iti chedaha. That is also tadvantike it is. So how it is coming? Tad u antike. U doesn't have any particular meaning, but at the same time it is nearest of the near. Tadvantike samipe atyandameva vidusham atmatvat na kevalam dure antike cha. Why is it very near? Because it is the very Atman of the knowing one. For him who knows, it is the very self. So it is the nearest of the near. Tad antara abhyantere asya sarvasya. It is the innermost reality. Ya atma sarvantaraha iti shrutehe. There is one shruti is quoted, that the Atman of every being, the Atman is the innermost essence. Then next, asya sarvasya jagato namarupa kriyatmadasya tatu abhi sarvasyasya bhakyato. And it is also of the whole world, it is sarvasya jagato bhakyato. Of all this world. What is world? Here meant sarvasya bhakyataha. Means namarupa kriyatmadasya. Everything means wherever there is nama, rupa and kriya, name, form and activity. Whether it be in this world or in the higher worlds or in the lower worlds, wherever there is these three things, nama, rupa and kriya, this Atman is there because it is all pervading. Tadu api sarvasyasya bhakyatoho vyapagatvat agashavat niratishaya sukshmatvat antaha. So that is what. Why is it? It It is inside everyone and it is outside everyone, it is told. It is inside everyone, it is because it is the subtlest of all things. Niradishaya sukshmatvat. It is the subtlest of all things. Therefore, it is the innermost essence of all things. And it is outside everything. Why? Because it is sarva vyapada. It is the subtlest essence is all pervading. That alone exists. It is all pervading. Therefore, it is outside also, everywhere it is there. Prajnana ghana eva iti cha shasanat nirantaram cha. So, Bhashya is adding one more thing. It is also nirantara. The same everywhere. It is the innermost essence of everything. It is all pervading, and in between also everywhere it is the same. That is one Prajnana Ghana Eva Anandamaya in the Mandukya it is told. That is quoted here. It is Nirantaram Cha. It is constantly the same everywhere. Abhi Sarvasyasya Bhakyato Shasana Nirantaram Cha. So, the 5th verse is over. Now, the next verse. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. Yaha tu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. He who sees. Anupashyati means sees through, in and through, sees as accompanied by something. That is, he sees all beings in the self. That is, he sees all beings, but in and through all beings, he sees the self. That is called anupashyati. He sees it like you see something in and through something else. That is called anupashyati. So, here it is told, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. The meaning is, they will told that in the Atman, apart from the Atman, you do not see anything. That they do not have any existence. Sarvani bhutani, all these things that you see, all these creatures, they do not have any existence apart from the self. Now, this is the mantra. These mantras are meant for repetition, these are all powerful mantras reflecting the nature of the truth. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam. And in all beings, starting from what? Starting from the avyakta, maya, etc. towards the non-moving grass or something like that, stamba. That sprout is called, non-moving grass is called that stamba. Starting from that to the non-moving grass, everything. In those things also, sarva bhuteshu chatmanam. You see the Atman. By that vision, tato na vijugupsade, you do not hate anything, you do not fear anything. This is you do not have fear from anything. You see all beings in the self, and in all beings you see the self, and he is, jugupsa is not there, grina is not there. That is, he is not, vijugupsa means gopaitu ichha. Gopaitu means the desire to hide oneself. You know, Thakur and all, he was so natural. He was not, that shyness or timidness was not there in him. Sometimes his clothes used to fall away. But we are all that we want to cover ourselves. We want to protect ourselves. We want to, because there is so much of jugupsa in us, we want to hide ourselves from others. So this thing goes away. That is told here through this vision of the Atman. This desire to hide ourselves from others. We are not afraid any more of anything else. That is, we don't have any imperfection. Only when we have imperfection, we want to hide it from others. But when you know you are perfect, the Atman is there, then you don't want to hide yourself from anything. This is what is told here. Now, we will see the commentary. Yes, to. Yaha parivrad mumukshuhu. Yaha, yes to, he is told here. What does it mean? Parivrad mumukshuhu. Parivrad means he who is the sannyasi, who is going around without any home, is called a parivrad. Parivrad mumukshuhu, who wants liberation. Sarvani bhutani avyaktadini stavarantani. Sarvani, all beings, starting from avyakta. The avyakta is that the avidya is called avyakta. The undifferentiated is called, the undifferentiated state of things is called avyakta, when creation has not yet begun. That is called avyakta. And from that, the creation starts. And the last final thing is that what is called the stamba, that stavaranda, the unmoving existence, like plants. So, avyaktadini yastu sarvani bhutani. And what are these all beings? Starting from avyakta, ending with stavaranda, the unmoving stump of grass. Stavarantani. Atmani eva anupashyati. Atma vyatiriktani na pashyati. That is, you do not see it apart from the self. That is what is meant here. Atmani eva pashyati. You don't see it as different from the self. Sarva bhuteshu cha teshu eva sarva bhuteshu cha teshu eva cha atmanam tesham api bhutanam swam atmanam atmatvena. That is, sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam, and in all beings he sees his own self. Just as he is the self in his own body, just as he is the witnessing self in his own body and mind, even so he sees himself in others also. This is the explanation given here. Sarva bhuteshu eva cha atmanam tesham api bhutanam swam atmanam atmatvena. His own Atman, as their Atman, he sees. That is told here. Yadha asya dehasya. It is little more explained. Yadha asya dehasya karyakarana sanghagasya atma aham. As I am this, the Atman of this body and senses. Of asya dehasya, of this body and senses. I am the self. I am the witnessing. There is a witnessing self here. The realization of that man is being described. I am there in this body and mind, witnessing my body and mind. Even so, sarva pratyaya sakshi bhutaha. I am the sakshi, the witness of all pratyayas in all beings. Chetayita, the giver of consciousness to all. As the self is the giver of consciousness to this body and mind, even this self is the giver of consciousness to all bodies and minds. Chetayita, Kevalo, the one only, the non-dual reality. Nirgunaha, it is beyond all qualities. Gunas are what is called the three kunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva, the quality of balance or equipoise. Rajas, the quality of passion. And Tamas, the quality of inertia. All these are qualities of the mind. So, but the Atman, it doesn't have, it is Nirguna. These qualities do not touch it. So, that Atman which is the Sarva Pratyaya Sakshi, as the witness of this body and mind, even so it witnesses the Pratyayas, the notions, the physical mental activities of all creatures. It is the giver of consciousness to all. It is non-dual and it is beyond all gunas. Anenaiva swarupena avyaktadinam stavarandanam ahameva atma. By this very nature, I am the witnessing consciousness of all, starting from the avyakta, ending with the stavara, to the stavara, which is the unmoving stump of grass. Ahameva Atma iti sarva bhuteshu cha Atmanam nirvishesham yastu anupashyati. He who sees, anupashyati, sa tadat tasmadeva darshanat. From that vision, tasmadeva darshanat, from that vision, na vijugupsade. He vijugupsam ghrunam na karoti. He does not want to hide himself. Praptasya eva anuvadaha ayam. This is not a vidhi. Na vijugupsade. Don't want to protect yourself. This is not what the Shruti is telling. It is a natural thing that follows from this vision. So it is not a vidhi. He will not do that. It follows from this vision. So it is not something that can be artificially done. Oh, I'm not going to from today onwards, I'm not going to hide myself to this world. It is not something like that. It is not something planned. That is what is told here. Praptasya eva anuvadoyam. It happens naturally. It is not a vidhi. Sarvahi ghrana atmano anya dushtam pashyado bhavati. All this ghrana, this kind of avoiding something that is very pitiable, or you want to turn this ghrana comes only when you see something different from yourself which is very pitiable or which is very bad. Then you feel ghrana. You see a naked man, you see physical body, that you see something as different from you and something as bad. You feel that there are so many bad things associated with a naked body, so you want to protect yourself. But sarvahi grana atmano anya dushtam pashyato bhavati. Atmanam eva atyanta vishuddham nirantaram pashyato. When you see the Atman, which is atyanta vishuddham, which is very pure and which is always the same everywhere, sa grana nimittam arthandaram astidi pashyato na grana nimittam arthandaram asti. For him, there is no thing separate from him which is a cause of grana, which is something to be avoided. He doesn't see something he doesn't see something. He is the eternal pure self, and there is nothing separate from him which is bad, which is to be avoided. That is the point here. Na grana nimittam arthandaram asti. There is nothing other than him which is the cause of grana. Idi praptameva tato na vijugupsate iti. Therefore, he doesn't want to hide himself from anything. This is the meaning of this verse. Now, the next verse. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma eva abhut vijanadaha tatra ko mohaha kashokaha egatvam anupashyadaha. In him, Yasmin, that person in whom, that time in which, or that person in whom, two ways it is interpreted. Yasmin means that in which, that is the meaning coming. But here it means yasmin kale yathoktatmaniva, that time in which, or that Atman in which this vision is there, that person in which this vision has arisen, this vision of the non-dual self. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma eva abhut vijanadaha tatra ko mohaha kashokaha egatvam anupashyadaha. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma eva vijanadaha. Yasmin vijanadaha. In him, of who is vijanadaha, in whom the knowledge has arisen. Of that knowing person, sarvani bhutani atma eva bhutiti vijanadaha. That all beings are that the Atman itself has become all the beings. He who has got that realization, in whom that realization has arisen. What happens to him? What is the phala? What is the result that is seen? Tatra ko mohaha kashokaha egatvam anupashyadaha. He who sees the egatva in all, in him, where is the moha, delusion? Where is the shoga, grief? Shoga and moha are the characteristics of samsara. Both of these are absent in him. Now, I will just read the commentary shortly. Imameva artham anyopi mantra aha yasmin sarvani bhutani. Yasmin kale, the time in which this knowledge has arisen, yadhokta atmaniva tani eva bhutani sarvani paramartha atmadarshanat atma eva abhut atma eva samvrittaha. Because of the paramartha, the absolute vision of the absolute self, he sees that tani eva bhutani sarvani atma eva abhut. The Atman itself has become all these beings. Atma eva samvrittaha. Paramartha vastu vijanadaha. Of him who knows that absolute transcendental truth. Paramartha vastu vijan tatra tasmin kale tatra atmaniva. In that time or in that Atman in which this sarvatma bhava has arisen, that I am one in all, this knowledge, in whom this knowledge has arisen. Ko mohaha kashokaha. Where is there moha? Where is there shoka? Shokascha mohascha. What is shoka and moha? Kama karma bijam. Achanato bhavati. Shoka and moha, grief and delusion is seen in him, has got as its seed kama and karma. And avidya. I told previously, it was told avidya, kama, karma, and then shoka and moha. The samsara bija comes into play. Avidya, that knowledge of that knowledge of perfection becomes covered. This is that apurnatva bodha comes, that I am not perfect. The awareness of imperfection comes. This is the first effect of avidya. Then comes kama. You want to be perfect by adding things from outside onto yourself. This is kama. And you engage yourself in activities, and then you become, attachment comes, and you get caught up in samsara through shoka and moha, through grief and delusion. So this is the series. Avidya, kama, karma, and from that shoka and moha, which is samsara bija, the root of the transmigratory state. Ko moha kashoga iti shoga moha shogashta mohashta kama karma bijam ajanato bhavati. Of him who doesn't know the self, to him shoka and moha is there, grief and delusion is there. Natu atma egatvam vishuddham gaganopamam pashyadaha. But to whom? To him who sees the Atman. What is the characteristics of that Atman? Atma egatvam, the non-dual Atman, which is vishuddham, very pure. Gaganopamam, comparable to the sky, which is all-pervading like space. Vishuddham, for him who sees the Atman as the pure, all-pervading self, comparable to the sky, there is no shoka and moha. Ko moha kashoga iti shoga mohayoho avidya karyayoho akshepena asambhava pradarshana. That is, ka moha, what is told here is that shoga and moha cannot be there. This is what is ka moha ka shoga. What shoga, what moha? This is the words of the mantra. So why is it told what shoga? Because it is totally impossible for a man with this realization of the Atman, shoga and moha to be there. And what is shoga and moha? It is the effect of avidya. So when you see this, that shoga and moha is not there, that means avidya also is not there. So avidya is something that can never be proved. You know it from the effects. When the effect is not there, you infer that avidya also is gone. Because avidya is not something, an entity that is why when avidya is described by the Shastras as being and not being, it is there not. It is that is contradictory things are told of it. Because it is something that can never be proved. Like you cannot prove darkness. Can you prove darkness? If you shine a torch into darkness, you don't see darkness anymore. The darkness has gone away. You see only the objects in that room. So, avidya is something like darkness, it's something that can never be proved. But when the effect is absent, you know that avidya also has gone. So, when shoga and moha is not there, rest assured avidya also is gone. Shoga mohayoho avidya karyayoho akshebena. When shoga and moha is told is not there, असंभव प्रदर्शनात् कारणस्य संसारस्य अत्यन्तमेव उच्छेदः प्रदर्शितः भवति. So by this, it is told that through this realization that sakaranasya samsarasya, that samsara along with its cause, which is avidya, the transmigratory state, the state of birth and rebirth, along with its cause, avidya, has also been totally destroyed. We have to understand samsarasya atyantameva uchcheda pradarshito bhavati. So, we have finished with 7 verses. Now, we will start with the 8th verse in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.